Guys, if you live in the United Kingdom, the housing crisis is just about to get a lot worse. So we're going to talk about the, well, what's it called? The Housing Reforms Bill or something. Renters' Rights Bill published today. So before we come on to that, we just need to talk about the situation in the United Kingdom at the moment. We don't have enough houses, right? That's the reality. Now, you guys know what my thoughts are on migration and the people coming into this country. I've been quite clear on that, but the fact still is we've got more people in this country than we have houses for. We've got a massive amount of people living on the streets. And from personal opinion, guys, we live in a small village, just outside Rotherham. And there's people sleeping on the streets here. This was unheard of like 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, and people are now just sleeping in sleeping bags outside shops. If this is happening in a small village that's got no, I mean, we don't really have any infrastructure, don't really have any like shops and that sort of stuff. But if this is happening here, what's it like in big cities? How are we just having a generation of people who just accept living on the streets now, because they don't want to get involved with the housing market, and rental and all the rest of it. Now, we've got the Labour government saying that they're going to build 1.5 million houses. All right, fine. Where are you going to get the money from? We're going to print it. All right, fine. Where are you going to get the builders from? There isn't that many builders, guys. Anybody who's in the building trade, if you yourself are in the building trade, or construction, please comment below and say, yeah, we've got loads of builders. The United Kingdom can easily build 1.5 million homes. Where are we going to build them? It's just a crisis, guys, and it's waiting, and it's only getting worse now. So that's kind of the backdrop of this problem. Now, what I'm just going to talk about now quickly before we go into this bill is how the government intervention always turns things worse. Look at the banking crisis. Look at printing money. Just look at what's happened over the last 4 years. When government gets involved, things get worse. Now, the reason they get involved is they try to save the weaker companies. They try to save people that are weak, people who should be going out of business anyway. So if you let capitalism do its job, people will vote with their money. People put their money where they want to put their money. And then, you get stronger companies. You get better managed companies. So anyway, what's been happening in the private, guys, I didn't realize how wild it actually was. In the private sector, in the private rental sector, you've got supply and demand issues. You've not got enough supply, and you've got a growing demand. So that is always going to drive costs up. It's always going to drive prices up. Now, the government came in to try and stop people raising their prices, and they put some legislation in place. But all that legislation did, it made people think, right, okay, actually, I have to raise my costs now regardless, because, because if there's a bank increase, a Bank of England base rate increase, if there's a tax put on us, if there's an extra levy, as a landlord, I'm not a landlord, but as a landlord, you will be left out of pocket. And that's not good business. That's never good business to be left out of pocket. My speculation, guys, my opinion. Okay, I have to say this for legal reasons because I've had like 2 videos taken down today. Anyway, so let's talk about what they're saying. If I'll just read it, guys, it's not really. Renters' Rights Bill published today, what it means for landlords. The government has confirmed plans to ban no-fault evictions and in-contract rent increases as it prepares to present the Renters Bill to Parliament today. So, guys, that is fair. No fault evictions, I think that's fair. Now, to ban in-contract rent increases, how can, if you've got a contract already, I don't understand how this is not already in place, because if you've got a contract, you're contracted to pay X amount of pounds per month. That's in the contract, that's legal. So I don't really understand what they mean here. I don't really understand if there's clauses in those contracts that say, we will be able to raise that, raise the rental as we see fit. And I don't know who would sign that contract either. Anyway, The ban will abolish Section 21 no-fault evictions for new and existing tenancies and will also end blanket bans for those on benefits or with children. So how can you, if you're a private landlord, how can this be enforced? You know, how can we enforce this? It makes no sense to me. You know, they're going to enforce, you know, they're going to ban people, blanket banning people on benefits or with children. You know, how can they do that? If I had a house and I wanted to rent it to somebody who had like, who was a French speaking gymnast who used to work at a circus and was also a trained pilot and an astrophysicist, if that's the person I wanted to get in my rental property, who is stopping me from looking for that tenant? You know, I don't know how this can be enforced. An announcement this morning, so today, guys, whatever, September 11th, from the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government said the bill will extend Orb's law into the private rented sector, letting tenants challenge dangerous conditions, and it will also apply the decent home standards for rentals. Now, so a friend of the family has had some problems with this, whereby they had a tenant and they were just, you know, also what challenges are there to, because you've got rogue landlords. What about rogue tenants? You know, I know from personal experience, it's kind of one of the reasons we never went into property. You know, tenants moving into houses and just destroying the houses, like really like sinister, just smashing everything up with like hammers and stuff and destroying things, putting things through windows, you know, and then it's the landlord who's left to clean that up. So whereas there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of legislation to protect the tenants, where's the landlord's protection? Guys, this doesn't end anywhere well. Landlords will not be able to include mid-tenancy increases in contracts. So I think that's what I alluded to earlier, and would only be able to raise the rent once a year and to the market rate. Now, this is where once you set things here in stone like this, that's what happens. So what will happen here, guys? Mark my words, once a year, everybody will raise their tenancy, raise their rental to the market rate, whatever that is. You know, so every year now you're going to see that market rate increase. And what will happen is, you know, you'll get these estate agents, because it's my opinion, guys, that the estate agents were very much to blame for the financial crash in 2008. That's my opinion, my speculation, you know. But what you'll get is you'll get these estate agents, because they are all a bit nerdy, aren't they, estate agents? You know, you go there and they're there in their little suit and their little shoes, and they do clickety-click on computers, and you have to pay them $5 for their clickety-clicks. But anyway, so what will happen is you will get estate agents, potentially, in my opinion, my speculation, you will get estate agents looking at how this system works and saying, right, okay, this is when we need to have your contracts running from. So all contracts will run at a certain date when they know that the you know, the bank increases will go up or something, so they can maximize on that rental increase. And the landlords, they're going to have to go with it, because if they don't raise it, if they don't raise that, you know, if they don't raise the rental, then what's going to happen to that landlord if, you know, there's a Bank of England base rate change, if there's a new tax on landlords that the government just decide to put in? Guys, this doesn't end anywhere well. It doesn't end well for renters, and it doesn't end well for landlords. My opinion, my speculation. I'm sick of having videos taken down. The update confirmed rumours of a ban on rental bidding wars. Landlords and letting agents will be legally required to publish an asking price for their property. Does this not happen already? I mean, is that what you do now? You put a property online for rental and you say, how much is it? And you say, how much do you want to give me? Is that how it works? They will also be banned for or asking, sorry, they will also be banned from asking for, encouraging or accepting any bid above this price. Guys, there's going to be ways around this, of course. You know, they're going to put a price range. They're going to put a price that's, you know, artificially high, and then people are going to bid below it. You know, there's going to be a way around this, because there's always ways around this legislation. Once you legislate something, it's like patents, for example. Some of the companies I used to work for, they wouldn't patent any of their technology, because once you patent your technology, You show people how it works. And that patent is very specific to that piece of machinery. Now, once you look at a patent, you see how it works. You can change a little bit, and it's not the same thing. So this is what I think is going to happen here. So how would this legislation be tested if, say, I had a house and it was worth, I don't know, £500 a month, and I put that on the market for £1,000 a month? All right, I'm asking £1,000. Does that mean somebody's going to give me 500? Maybe. Does that mean somebody can give me 750? Yeah, because it's below what you're asking for. So there's always ways around this, and it never ends well for the, it never ends well for the consumer. What we need to do is let the consumer vote with their money. And when they vote with their money, the bad landlords will be out of business. You would like to think, and this is how things happen. But the problem is there's too much intervention. There's too many plasters on these fractures, and they need to be let go. Landlords and letting agents will, yeah, I've done that. The announcement said the new private, yeah, that no, let's turn that off. No one likes pop-ups. Right, guys, so we've covered it there basically, guys. But what happens each and every time, and what I see this as like heading towards is, landlords selling up and moving out, just not bothering. So that's going to leave somebody, a bigger landlord, to then buy up all those properties. And once you control the market, initially, you buy up all the properties cheap. Once you control the market, then you put the prices up. So I don't see this ending well for landlords, and I don't see this ending well for tenants either. Government intervention, in my opinion, in my analysis from what I've seen, it very rarely works out well. And that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. It's not good news for renters, and it's not good news for landlords. I don't know who it is good news for. Probably whoever's taking the time. Maybe it's good news for, I can't think this is good news for anyone, actually, guys. I do think it's right what they're putting in place, and it sounds well and proper. But the problem is, once you legislate these things, people find ways around it, and they always do, guys. Right? You need to let people vote with their money. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you renting yourself? Do you have a good landlord? I know lots of good landlords. I know some landlords were still charging 90s prices for their houses because they've had a tenant in for like 5-6 years, and they just don't charge, and they've just never put their rent up. Now they're thinking, okay, I'm going to have to start putting my rent up, because if I'm getting more, if I have to pay more taxes, I'm not making a lot of money from one single house. They're going to have to put their prices up, and not because of anything bad they've done. They've been a good landlord. Good landlords, good tenants, everything works. The problem is, we're getting a mass exponential growth of people in this country, and the government, rather than identifying and dealing with the underlying problem, they're just trying to put plasters on everything. Anyway, guys, like I said, I'm going back to grid, guys. I'll get you another video later. I'll speak to you soon.